Oh, hey.
Well, do you want to talk about GTA 3? Only not GTA 3?
Yeah. So I've been following this story for a little while. A couple of months back, Take-Two Interactive went to GitHub and said, "Hey, GitHub, you need to take down all of these Git repos, which are infringing on our copyright." And these repositories were hosting. What is the name of the actual thing here? Oh no, RE3.
Yeah.
RE3. RE3 and RE Vice City, which are basically reverse engineerings of GTA 3 and Vice City. And basically, so Take-Two issued DMCA claims against RE3 and Vice City, like reverse engineering projects. And there was a whole bunch of like forks of these open source projects, right? So Take-Two issued these DMCAs. GitHub took the stuff down, but according to like the DMCA, you actually have a right to get your stuff reinstated if it's been filed erroneously, right? And the developers of these two projects believed that they were being filed erroneously because in order for you to use RE3, you actually have to own the game on Steam, or other, you have to have a copy of GTA 3. And the link that they have on their GitHub is to the Steam store. So you need to own it on Steam in order if you want to play the game, because they don't distribute the copyrighted art assets of the game. None of the models, none of the textures, none of the sprites. None of it is distributed. It's just code. So they said, GitHub, we want our stuff reinstated because that's a baloney lawsuit or a baloney DMCA claim, and GitHub restored them all. The problem is now Take-Two is suing the developers, and that sucks. Like basically they're saying that because the GTA 3 and Vice City projects have been ported to other platforms like the Switch, that is a market that exclusively belongs to Take-Two. And so because of that, it is prohibited in their terms of service, and the reverse engineering is infringing on their copyright. So they're suing them for copyright infringement. What do you think about this, my friend?
Listen, I always consistently, okay, hear me out. Internet. If you work at a company like Take-Two, listen to me for a second. You can call me. I'll be your consultant. I will help you handle this stuff better than, suing random open source developers on the internet.
Yeah.
Like, the thing is that this is going to be a messy fight with a group of people who love their games and want to play them on platforms where they're not able to play them already, and also in experiment with the game and take the game further than the developer originally. These games are old.
Yes.
I played GTA 3 in high school, I think. And so and I'm old.
Wait, you didn't play it in high school. You played it in middle school.
You don't think so?
No, it was. I mean, you might have played it in high school, but like it came out when we were like, I was 11, I think, when it came out.
You're right. Yes. So I played it. Yes, even before then. And so it's like, come on, like this is an old game, like, and they're giving it second life. They're introducing new people to the game who probably didn't play it originally or have been yearning to play it on a new platform. So the thing is, like, why not embrace this community and engage with this community and let them help you promote, your games and introduce more people to the GTA universe. I don't understand why they have to come out swinging like this. Like somebody took the time, a group of people took the time to reverse engineer the game, so they had no help. They just like tried to figure out how the game worked and reproduce that fresh. And then they're not even like providing like the assets or anything. You have to like essentially grab the assets from, a game that you've already bought, from presumably like some source that has paid Rockstar, unless it's pirated, but that's a different thing entirely.
Yeah.
I feel like this is just we've seen a lot of these lately, whether it's around this in this case it's like a modding community. In the past it's been like emulation communities. And I just think that this is like it's just a wrong move, especially with a game that's probably like, I don't know, we were just talking about like maybe 20 years old, close to 20 years old.
Yeah.
Like just in this is not a good look, and I think that they shouldn't be just suing people who love their game enough to to spend 2 years like rewriting it essentially.
Yeah.
Uh,
One of the one of the only things that I think that the developers did wrong is that they have used actual reverse engineering tools, and they haven't like clean room re-implemented the entire thing themselves. That
Gotcha.
that is kind of a problem. But at the same time,
Yeah.
the game is 20 years old. It literally came out like a couple months after 9/11. Like dude, the game is old. Like it's so old. So, the problem too is like even if Take-Two were doing like HD remasters of this game, or both games, like it's old, and this isn't conflicting with your market at all. Like this is augmenting the market for these games. These games are still selling on Steam because people want to use the new code with the old assets. Like, and even if Take-Two were doing a complete remaster, this game like would probably support the high resolution textures and better models and all these things eventually, and augment that market too. It's incredibly frustrating when developers do this because I don't know if you remember when AMR2 was cease and desisted by Nintendo. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do.
And it was because they were coming out with like a Metroid 2 remake on the 3DS. And it's like Nintendo doesn't understand their fans. Take-Two doesn't understand their fans. And I honestly think that like there is a case for fair use here, for like game preservation. I also think that like I don't understand why precedents like in the Galoob versus Nintendo fight isn't cited more often, right? Because one of the things that like they're saying in their lawsuit here is that the fact that you can mod this version of the game basically encourages users to further infringe the original game and to violate their agreements with Take-Two that prohibit such activity. And the fact that they're adding other cheat codes. I read somewhere it says they can't use new cheat codes. That. And it's like, well, dude, in the Galoob versus Nintendo case, it was found that it wasn't creating derivative works to use a Game Genie to modify a Nintendo game to play it how you see fit. And I don't see any reason why using like if you're not charging for the code that you know for the reverse engineering work that you're doing, and you're distributing reverse engineered code on new platforms or on a platform that was originally supported, the PC for example, I don't understand how that could be considered a derivative work if it's I don't get it. And also the fact that like they're claiming like that the counterclaims to the DMCA's were made in bad faith and were knowingly and deliberately misrepresenting to GitHub the contents of the Git repos. I think that this could be like a free speech argument as well, like anti-slap case. Why not throw that in there too? Like Take-Two needs to be like smacked down, and these reverse engineering projects need to be allowed to continue. It's ridiculous.
My deal is put me in coach. Like if I'm sitting there on Take-Two's side, the code exists under a license. It doesn't exist under a license,
right?
But it says this code should only be used for educational documentation and modding purposes. We do not encourage privacy or commercial use. So here's the deal. I assume GTA 3 before this, and I'd have to check, and this is kind of bad take from me, but I assume it's not on Nintendo Switch, PlayStation Vita, and Nintendo Wii U. Okay, like it. Listen, Take-Two, these people just for free ported your game to 3 new platforms.
Yeah,
there is nothing preventing you from just taking
hiring
this now, packaging it, and selling it on those platforms.
Yeah,
and like because you own the assets,
hire these developers to do it for you.
Sue them. Yeah, exactly.
For God's sakes, they need to take a page out of Sega's book. Sega, like Christian Whitehead, right? He was like a huge Sonic fan and a modder, and he made his own Sonic engine. And instead of suing them or suing him, Nintendo brought him on board, and now we have Sonic Mania.
Yeah.
These guys are idiots. This is the problem, okay? Like Nintendo, like the executives at Nintendo aren't gamers. The executives at Take-Two aren't gamers. They see things as business. At least a few people at Sega are gamers because they see this and they're part of the community and they actually care. They're not going to sue people for making fan games of Sonic the Hedgehog fan games, even when like there's like some of the official Sonic games suck and the fan games are way better. Sega knows we're not going to sue our fans. Yeah. It's bananas to me. I don't understand.
Because why would you? Somebody plays this, they get bored with this after, a few weeks, and they're like, okay, I will buy GTA 5.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, that's a progression. That's what happens to me, at least, whenever I play, like, even, like, the open source, like, versions of, like, popular games from whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'll play them until I'm tired of them, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, I want to play the like thing that this is based off of, or the original or whatever, and I buy them. They don't take away from, like, anyway. We beat this dead horse, but even this kind of stuff.
Even Electronic Arts knows better than to sue their fans. Do you know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm going to talk about?
No, I don't.
Okay. So there's this thing called OpenRA, and you can play Red Alert, and you can play Dune 2000, and you can play the original Command and Conquer, and it's open source. And the game, like, because a couple of years, like many years ago now, Electronic Arts made the original Command and Conquer and Red Alert available as freeware. OpenRA is just freely distributing the assets for these games too. A couple of years ago, an EA executive showed up on like the OpenRA website and just like with a blog post saying, "You guys are fans of Command and Conquer, and we want to like work with the community because we're making a Red Alert remaster or a CNC remaster." And the community, like everyone was kind of scared at that point. Like, who is this Electronic Arts guy, and why is he on our open source projects like blog, But like Electronic Arts knows, don't sue your fans.
Yeah. they're your fans.
The
They're
projects-
going to. They're trying to like prolong the life of games that they love that
Yes.
you produce. Like just like let them do that and like help them. And in the business side of me, so you know, and I'm used to like thinking about how you like monetize open source is like there are lots of opportunities to take what they've done, build upon it, create community, create products, you know, like if this GTA mod, like they could be like creating content for this and selling it.
Yeah. Yeah, they could. They could use
But-
this as the base of an HD remaster for both games. They could
Yes.
hire these guys to do all of the porting work. But they're not going to because
Yeah.
they are idiots. Anyway, yeah, we've beat
Yeah.
this one to a dead horse.
Although I'm like, but I think time will prove us right.
Oh, of course.
I think we've already seen like that this really has kind of a not a great effect on the reputation of these companies,
No.
and people are going to, you know, they're gonna remember this when they make their purchasing decisions. Because I know, you know, like with some of the Nintendo stuff, that weighed pretty heavily on me, and you know,
Yep.
yeah, it has influenced my purchasing decisions. So
Yep.
yeah.
It's disgusting. These guys are idiots. Anyway, I want to know what everybody in the audience thinks. Let us know. Hit us up at show@offtopical.net. Send us your rage.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, if the audience has anything they want to get our take on, like, you know, we
Yeah.
could see if we get anything good, we'll read it out on air and talk about it. I'd be curious to just hear what folks thinks about some of these things that they disagree. Like, you know,
Yeah.
maybe if you've got a good enough take, we'll read it out.
Definitely.